Don't get your money to work for you. In fact, if you want real wealth, don't work for money or get your money to work for you. Avoid growing your money through compound interest because that's not in the formula either. What? You might have thought those things were the holy grail of wealth building. Nope. And I'll put some real numbers to it to show you exactly what I mean. Let me explain how you invest to truly win in a way that you've never seen in your entire life. You'll improve not only your life, but generationally, your entire family's life. At your job, you are like a dock worker. You're trying to pull your boat up to the dock so that you can then make a short, easy hop onto the boat and get away. You'll learn how I did that and how I would begin investing today if I could start all over again. Settle in and be sure to watch this until the end. You will see what you've never seen before. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold, Get Rich Education founder, Forbes Real Estate Council member, best-selling author, and longtime real estate investor. Now, after I had graduated college and had a job, I used to think, well, I'll invest through a 401k in stocks because it's just easy and it's deducted right from my paycheck. Well, when you do the easy thing in life, there's usually little reward at the end. I thought, why would I invest in real estate anyway? A stock and mutual fund return on investment is about 10% over time. Real estate is closer to 6%, plus real estate has all these maintenance hassles. In the stock market, your 10% return enjoys compound interest. All right, well, let's look at some numbers with how that would work. With $100,000 invested in stocks at 10%, after year one, it's grown to $110,000. In year two, you don't just have $120K, you've got more because the 10% compounds on the $110K. So in year two, you've got $121,000. And I bet that you don't see any problem in this yet, right? Things are going great. And after year three, you're up to $133,100. All right, so you began with $100K, and after 3 years, you've got then $33,100 in profit. That's what compound interest does. All right, well, let's look at that $33,100 in gain there. I could attack it a slew of reasonable ways if I wanted to. We could subtract out the constant drags of inflation, emotion, taxes, fees, and volatility. I'll just take one, volatility. We smoothed out our 10% return, saying that you achieved it all 3 years. We know that doesn't happen in the real world. Stocks are volatile, and the more volatile the return, the lower the return. If you were, say, up 20% 1 year and then down 20% the next year, which stocks are known to do, you're not even, you are down. Your 100K would instead go up to 120K in year one and down to 96K in year two, a loss. And that's the difference between what's called the compounded annual growth rate versus the average annual return, but we'll still leave stocks number right there where it is anyway. We'll say that despite all 5 drags, volatility of which is just one, the compound interest, somehow it still gave you the $33,100 profit. That number is about to look really disappointing, and this is about to get really interesting. Let's compare that to real estate. Despite that it will only return 6% per year in our example, how do most people buy real estate? They do it with other people's money, OPM. Remember earlier that I talked about how you don't create wealth from getting only your money to work for you. Yeah, here's how you ethically use other people's money to buy real estate. When you invest $100K in a rental property, that's your 20% down. You get to borrow 80% from the bank, $400K. Well, now you control a $500K property, and here's the thing, its entire value appreciates at 6%, not only your $100K invested. So you're now about to get the return on both your $100K and all the bank's money, $400K, that you're borrowing, what's known as leveraging. Returns from both go to you. We'll show all the math shortly, but here's what you'll get. Instead of compound interest, you're about to get compound leverage using borrowed funds to amplify your own return. So with your $100K invested on a $500K property at 6%, after year one, you've got $130K. Year two, $161,800. In year 3, $195,508. Subtract out your 100K down payment and your profit is $95,508. That's compared to your compound interest-based stock return of just $33,100. Before we move on, here's the math of that leveraged real estate return on screen quickly so that you can pause it if you like. See, by employing other people's money, it's like when you were a kid and in the evening you cast this shadow 5 times taller than your actual body. Leverage allows you to magnify returns and appear to be a bigger, taller investor than you really are. Your 20% down payment on real estate gave you 5-to-1 leverage, amplifying your returns. So after 3 years, it's about $33K profit on stocks and $95K on real estate. Real estate returned almost 3 times as much, but in reality, it's probably more than a 3x win for real estate. Your $95,508 profit in real estate will actually be higher because your tenant is also paying down your principal balance on that $400K loan every single month for 36 months. At the same time, inflation pays down your loan even faster than the tenant does, yes, simultaneously. Real estate is also more tax advantaged than stock gains because you never have to pay capital gains tax on your $95,508 profit with something called a 1031 tax deferred exchange. Even if your 33K stock return was in a 401k type fund, you'd either pay the tax now with a Roth or later with a traditional retirement plan. You're still going to pay the tax. The higher real estate return is also more likely because real estate is less volatile than stocks. And in fact, here's a great chart. This is real estate's rate of return every single year since World War II. You can see how few times it goes down in value. Hey, I've got more vitally important things to tell you about how you just grew wealth about 3 times faster with leverage than with compound interest. But you know, this is what I wish I knew when I had started out. I would have put it into practice sooner. Now, if you think you don't have the money for a down payment, I'll get into that in a bit. But 2 big lessons here first are don't focus on getting only your money to work for you. And second, stress compound leverage, not compound interest. Optimize using other people's money. And when you take out a loan for rental property, you're actually using other people's money 3 ways at the same time, 3 different parties. The banks for the loan, like we discussed. Second, you're using the government's money for generous tax incentives. I only touched on one incentive. And then thirdly, you're using the tenant's money to pay down your mortgage loan and pay all of your property's operating expenses. Expenses like maintenance, repairs, insurance, property taxes, and pay your property manager to make this all mostly passive for you. I don't manage any of my own properties, and on top of all that, hopefully you'll have a little residual income from your tenant after expenses are paid every month. Your monthly profit of rent income minus expenses is called cash flow. I want to talk about doing this ethically. Use an experienced property manager. Never get called a slumlord. Provide housing that's clean, safe, and functional. Now, what if real estate goes down in value? We won't even talk about what if stocks go down in value. What if real estate goes down? It's not common, but I had it happen to me around 2008. You can look back here on this chart again to see how rare that event is. It didn't matter that my rental property's values were temporarily suppressed then. My rents were higher than my monthly expenses. That's the way to own property from day one. See, I'm not motivated to sell an asset that's paying me income every month during a time when its overall capital value dips. And by the way, with all these things I'm talking about, there's nothing new or esoteric here. You just haven't had it explained to you in this way before. This $33K from stocks and mutual funds versus $95K from real estate. I mean, gosh, this is simply buying houses with plain vanilla 30-year fixed rate loans. As you continue in your real estate journey, keep stacking more properties and it'll go faster than you think because your tenant pays you income that you can use toward the next property. And then as a backup, you have trapped equity that keeps accumulating in your property. You can release that equity by removing it with a completely tax-free event, a cash-out refinance, all while you hold onto the asset and use its untrapped equity to put more down payments on property. So this can grow fast. Now, what if you think you don't have the money to start? What do you do then? Well, I've met a lot of people that when they understand the leverage concept, they withdraw their 401k funds and pay a penalty in taxes and put them toward real estate. You know taxes on that anyway, and now that may or may not be right for you, but once I understood this, I stopped contributing to my 401k, and instead, I didn't have much money, so I started out by making just a 3.5% down payment with an FHA loan on a fourplex building where I lived in one unit and then rented out the other 3. You can too. I show you how right here in this video. But if you don't want to live in a multi-unit rental where there are other tenants in the other units, you can then still put a 20% down payment on property, like we did in the example, on a perfectly good, say, $200K rental property. So that's just $40,000 down. Now you might think properties, well, they're more costly than that in your area, but you don't have to buy the real estate in your home market. Properties are cheaper and the numbers work better in the US Midwest and Southeast. That's where I own all my properties, even though I don't live in those regions. But you might still be thinking that, you know, the real estate market, it's rather competitive now, and oh, I've got this small down payment. Maybe I can't compete with these deep pockets cash offers because all cash buyers, they can close really fast. But small down payments, they can still compete with all cash offers because some sellers don't want a quick sale, either for tax reasons or myriad lifestyle reasons that they might have. So educate yourself first. It starts with you getting pre-approved for an income property loan at a specialist like Ridge Lending Group. They'll help you get your credit score, assets, debt, income, and everything else in order. If you're already there, you can find the real estate that makes the best leveraged income property and even get free investment coaching from us at gremarketplace.com. Using debt is like fire. If it's misallocated, like 23% credit card debt, well, it can burn down your financial house. But if you know how to use debt in a controlled manner, like for income property that others pay down for you, the fire will heat your home. If I could start all over again with what I know now, it would be to embrace good debt because tenants paid down this debt for me. So use it as leverage to build your real estate empire. Every dollar that I locked inside a 401k was a dollar that I couldn't use to leverage other people's money. I should not have contributed to a conventional retirement plan beyond the employer match. I used leverage to pull my boat up to the dock more than 3 times faster and escape the day job when I was still young enough to enjoy it. And once one understands the difference, why would anyone want to do life any other way? You might have heard that real estate has made more ordinary people wealthy than any other investment, but today you learned how. If you're ready to own income property or add more, we are here to help you and know the mistakes to avoid and give you more guidance, all completely free with our investment coaching. Like I said, you can book an appointment at gremarketplace.com free, or take a look at what one of our coaching calls really looks like in this video right here.